Hello. Welcome to another episode of Plain Talk with Eva, the platform, the art of voice. Oh, we're going to have a great time tonight. We're talking about navigating strategies during the holiday season. We have talked to you guys the last couple of months about the coming to the end of the year, and we're talking about lingering things that we're holding dear to our heart, the grieving process, losses, uh, things that are impeding our lives to the point where sometimes we can't move forward. I am your host, Dr. Eva LaBeouf, and tonight we have an amazing person. I'm not going to tell y'all it's a guest speaker. She'll be on in just a moment. I'm not going to get started with that because I'm excited about what she brings to the table. So, tonight, we're going to be talking about how to cope with things. Um, Mental health has been something that it seems to be plaguing our communities, plaguing our churches, uh, plaguing our workplace. The uh, workforce now uh, has been inundated with so much anxiety and things that are going on in everyone's life. The thing I always remind us that life be lifing so much that people cannot begin to move forward. So we're now doing mental health policies, providing mental health days for people. Um, we need to be in a position where we can begin to navigate, put some strategies together in our lives where we can navigate how to cope and how to engage uh, with others during this time. Well, let me tell you about the person that we have here tonight, um, Dr. Krishandalyn Hicks. Man, I am so excited to be for her to be here tonight to share some things with us. I'm honored, honored to introduce her to you. She is a local, um, and she's here tonight because of her level of engagement, her expertise, her ability to engage uh, with anyone that needs that voice reclaimed. Um, she is the daughter of Rachel Richard Robinson and the late Robert Bashirs. She's actually uh, uh, alma mater of Scotlandville Magnet High here, our public school system here. She attended Grambling State. We're not gonna hold that against her. Um, and she has a bachelor's degree in social work. Um, she has a passion and a love for what she does. So she uh, received her master's degree in social work. So in 2008, um, and then she has a passion for the elderly. So she went back to school, and her degree is in gerontology. And we sometimes forget about the elderly. We forget about those people. They need social work as well. They need to be um, encouraged. They need to get the skills to be able to navigate past the psychological bondage that they are experiencing. So we can't just forget about them. So she didn't just stop there. She went ahead and moved forward. She graduated in May 2021 with a master's in theology and religious studies uh, and received her doctorate in biblical psychology. So she is on both sides of it. And we want to say, we say it like that, but it's actually just one because God created science. We forget about that. And she is a licensed clinical social worker, board approved. So if you need assistance, we're going to talk about that later. she can service you in wherever behavior health treatment that is needed. So you know how we do it. We get our questions from our audience and we begin to move forward with that. So I want to say first, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited about what you're gonna push us forward with and how we'll be able to actually share um, this information with us so we'll know exactly what we're doing, how we're going to navigate, and the way that we will be strategically applying these skills to our life itself. So we do have a question on the table right now. What are the common sources of stress during the holiday season?
So, some of the common stresses are finances. Of course, we have Thanksgiving, then right behind there is Christmas, then New Year's. And so, fellowshipping with family costs money because you need money to cook, to buy the groceries. And we know a pack of chicken wings is $20, $30 now when you go in the store, right?
You got that right.
You can't. I remember we used to get drumsticks for $5. Now they like $20. So it costs to do that. And also other stresses, or a lot of people are celebrating what I call their first. And the first are what you experience after a loss, the first holiday without a person. And that person may have been an intricate part of those holiday traditions.
Mhm.
And now that person isn't there. So you feel lost and you
Mhm.
don't know how to navigate. Well, how we do this? Mama used to do this. Daddy used to do this. Sister used to do this. And not knowing what to do and how to move forward in that season. And you just become extremely overwhelmed
Yeah.
because you don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Given what you just shared with us, the financial side of things, that the pressures that come along with that, I know you deal with uh, people daily. This is what you do. Um, we're going to get right to the meat of what's happening because people want to know how to cope. What, where do they start? How do they address um, the grief and loss that they have in their lives? Um, talked about uh, loss of family members just now. How do you cope with that? How do you engage with your clients with coping strategies for dealing with these dynamics that happen? The life be lifing. Um, what do you what do you recommend?
So the first thing I like to tell people is that we have to get to a place of acceptance. And I think society has taught us that when we accept something, we're supposed to feel like it's okay, right?
Mm,
And it's okay to not be okay, but we have to get to that point of accepting what has occurred. My mom and I had a little small, say very small disagreement the other day because I was telling her that there's nothing scientific or biblically that says specifically when a person is going to go. There's no study. So she pulled a scripture about the seven schools. And I
mm,
said, yes, it does say that. I said, and that's supposed to be 70. But what about a baby?
mm,
My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he didn't make it to 70. My dad didn't make it to 70. My father in law didn't make it to 70. So I said, I'm not saying that God isn't promising us that, but there's nothing specifically study wise that says when a person is supposed to go.
mm.
So when we accept things, we have to get rid of this unrealistic expectation that we have that, oh, this person is going to be here forever. They're going to be
Mm,
this age. And I said, we have to take the opportunity to appreciate people while we have them here because God is we clock in and out of work, right? When you go to work, you
mhm.
punch in, you punch out. God clocks us in and out of life.
That's right. That's good.
And so because he does that, we have no say so and control over that. So if we focus more on quality of life instead of quantity,
Mm,
then when someone does leave us, whether it's death or divorce, because we grieve divorces
Mm-hmm.
too,
Mm-hmm.
losing children to the system, giving children up for adoption. When we experience that, at least, even though we may be saddened, we feel a little better because we've gotten to a point to where we've accepted that these are the things that are going to happen, and we have no control over that. The second thing I like to tell them is the best advice that I got when my dad passed away was, God didn't take you. And so I was like, I don't want to hear that. Because you don't want to hear that. You just want somebody to pity you and
Yeah.
cry
Yeah.
with you. And I had to wake up and I had to say, you know what? That's true. God didn't take me. So since he didn't take me, that means that I haven't fulfilled the purpose that he has for me. I haven't fulfilled the dreams that I have for myself. So since he hadn't done that, that means I'm still supposed to be living. Because those people that are gone, he
Mhm.
told them they finished.
Wow.
So who am I to sit back and try to finish myself early?
Come on.
I can't do that because now I'm not living up to the expectation that he has for me and the journey that he has set for me. And so it's very important that once we get through that, then also realize you have Jesus in the theaters.
Yeah.
You can go to church on Sunday and you could come see me Monday morning.
Exactly.
And I'm all right with that. And I'm gonna see you. Also, I think a lot of times we forget about, you were talking about mental health days on the job. Just about every job has an employee assistance program.
That's
You
right.
could get free therapy sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen 3, 5, 10, 12, 15. One EAP program I work with, they said if you call us today and you're depressed, when them sessions over, you call us back and say it's stress. And when that's over, you can call us back and say it's something else. We have all these categories that we
There's
can
some
approve.
strategies right
Yeah,
there.
that we can approve. So
Yeah.
you can just come back. And so I think um, recognizing that we have to accept that there's going to be situations in life that we have total no control over,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be okay with knowing that we have to stay in our lane. That don't belong to me.
Right. Right. I like that. Um, you have things that you can do to help yourself. Um, hey, counseling is a great tool. Um, for years, I'll say back in the day, um, early on, especially in certain churches that I won't name, things like that. But going to counseling, seeing a psychiatrist, anything like that was a taboo. But now we understand, we know better. Counseling is uh, here for you to be able to navigate and cope through things. Well, we have premarital counseling, um, and the covenant that's set up through the courthouse. It's a covenant marriage, and that you have pre. So if you're going to do that before you get married, life itself, the way things are thrown at us, we should position ourselves to take care of our psyche. The word says that God wants us to be in good health, mind, body, and soul. It's important that our spirit man, our body, our mind is taken care of, and we should not allow society. You know, sometimes I hear people say, "Well, it's the trend, it's the norm, it's the culture." Do you think that that impacts society, social? Yeah.
Yeah. I think because we still have those that don't believe in mental health here. And so, because they don't talk about it, we still have that what goes on in this house stays in this house. What goes
Ah.
on in this family stays in this family. And so, people tend to not speak out with fear of getting in trouble uh, at home. But it's important to speak out, because if you don't, then you're just going to continue this on. That's how we end up with the generational curses, because we're keeping everything in the house. We're not sharing what we're talking about. Uh,
Just holding on to
yeah,
it.
holding on to it. And I like to think about, I tell my clients, we all have a toolbox, right? So when we're born, we automatically get a toolbox. And our parents put tools in that toolbox. But what we have to remember is some are shiny, brand new. That mean they never use them. There's some that's all rusted and old because they've been overused. And so as our parents carry that on to us, if we're only exposed to those tools, then we're not able to learn anything different. And so we have to realize that just because uh, I caught a whooping growing up, I'm not against spanking. My sister might kill me if I say this, but I have a sister, and when my mama would spank her, she wouldn't drop a tear. So my mama had to say, I'm gonna have to try something different because I'm not getting the reaction that I want, that I'm supposed to be getting. You're supposed to be crying. You're not doing it. Then my baby sister, she would holler like somebody was murdering her. So then my mama said, I'm gonna go to jail because the neighbors gonna hear you and they don't like me up. So I have to do something different. And so my mom was exposed to different disciplinary techniques. So she was able to determine which ones to use for us. But if we're just accustomed to the same thing all the time, then we don't know what to do. And then that's how we end up with people still staying in poverty. Even grief, since we're talking about grief, we have to teach children how to grieve. Because even though we lost someone, they lost someone too. And they're still trying to navigate their own feelings. So if they see us laying in the bed all day, not showering, not taking care of our hygiene, not going to work, crying, moping around, what do you think they're going to do when they experience loss? They're going to do the same thing. And that's how we end up with the high suicide rate in our children, our adolescents, our college students. I think Southern may have had 2 or 3 within the past few years. One of my good friends, her son committed suicide about 5 to 7 years ago, and she goes around and talks about that and helps others because people feel like life has gotten that bad that there's no other option because they've tried every single thing that they could do to get happy, to be happy. And nothing was ever good enough because for whatever reason, nobody heard them. Nobody listened, or some people did listen, but the people that they needed to listen didn't. Because I know my friend, she was very attentive to her son, but the school didn't listen. The students didn't listen. And so, what else do I do? You can't protect me from that. I got to go to school.
Yeah.
And
it's important that we have that listening ear. It's important that we not be so selfish. Right. It is selfish when people come to you and they need assistance. They need to vent. That's what we're here for, to support each other.
Yeah.
And in that, we listen to each other and we actively listen, not just You actively listen, you engage with, you give them feedback, and don't be afraid to refer them or encourage them for counseling. Um, you know where they are. You're that influence in their life right now, so it's important that you take advantage of that and help whoever it is that trusts you enough to share their life with you. And in that trust, you begin to help them reclaim what they have lost, which includes their voice, reclaim their confidence, reclaim their purpose that they don't seem to recognize that they have a purpose. You can play a part in that to help maintain the mental well-being. Not just, we're talking about the holidays, but every day, 365 days of the year, 24/7, we have someone that that you have an influence over, that you can extend yourself to them. We build relationships, and one of the things that during this time of the holiday, we begin to gather as a family. And in gathering, we begin to think about those things that we've lost, those people we've lost, On the show before, we talked about loss of tangibles,
Mhm.
homes and cars. And um, I was looking at a financial show the other day, and the 2008 thing that, the stock market crashed and all that,
Oh,
and so many people lost. And I'm like, 2008, people are still talking about,
yeah.
because they're not, so many people did not get back
Yeah.
where they were, um, or were able to reclaim their voice. The families are still suffering.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting that even today, 2024, that a conversation was being discussed about the losses back then. Um, so it's important that we address them. It's important that we begin to put coping mechanisms into our lives. Um, you talked about one of the first things that we should do is acceptance. Um, Receive the necessary counseling. Um, what are some things that we could do proactively to help us when we see it coming? Those that are being mindful of what's happening in their life, because I know mindfulness is important. Um, I deal with a lot of uh, education with trauma informed and things like that. So I know being mindful. What are some things that we can do to help us be proactive to maintain that calm?
The first thing is self inventory. We know who we are, we know what we're responsible for. So just doing like a self check in, get in the mirror in the morning and look at yourself and say, do I feel great today? What do I need to accomplish today? What are some things that were on my to do list for yesterday that I didn't get to do that I need to move today? And if you're not having a good day, begin identifying what has changed it, what has put you in a position where you feel like you're not having a good day. Also, having those support systems. A lot of us say, oh, no new friends. I don't need anybody. We are human beings. We need people. We need people. That's
Absolutely.
why Adam got Eve, because God said you need
Somebody.
somebody. So we need people, but also when you're establishing that, establishing those boundaries when it comes to that self check in. I tell people always look at boundaries and like, oh, that's too many rules. No, boundaries is the way that you educate people on how
Mhm.
they're going to treat you. That's the
Thank
boundary.
you.
A boundary means I'm putting something in place to show you how I expect you to treat me. And so you have to do that with family members, you have to do that with friends, you have to do that with coworkers. And so once you establish that, that starts establishing that peace and
Mhm.
that expectation. So you don't have to worry about stressful things coming to you, because the first thing people are gonna say is, you can't go to Chris with that, because Chris don't like that kind of stuff, because those boundaries have been established. So
Mhm.
identifying what boundaries I don't have in place,
Mhm.
what do I need to put in place to help myself, so that when I am met with that situation, I already know what to do. Because just like we prepare for the hurricane, when y'all go running buy up all the gas and the bread and the lunch meeting, you gonna have no lights. But hey, it is what it is,
Yeah.
right? Just like you prepare for that, it's the same thing for mental health. Create your mental health toolbox and say, okay, I know if you take medication, hey, I have to make sure I keep my appointment with my
Mhm.
physician so that I can have my medicine on deck. I have to make sure I keep my therapy appointments. After COVID, telehealth skyrocketed.
Yeah.
You don't have to physically go into a person's office. You can schedule a telehealth visit. I do telehealth. I see people on Zoom, and so making sure that you stay on top of that, having that list of people who are your supports. I tell people all the time, if I talk to you every day, and a day goes by and you haven't heard from me, you need to call and check on me, because
Exactly.
evidently something is going on, because now I'm going outside of my norm. And so, in order for people to know that you are the number one person responsible for that, I'm not a mind reader. So, Dr. Eva has to tell me what
Mhm.
she needs from me. And so, when she does that, then that means now I'm able to say, I know how I can help you, because the way I may think to help you may not work, may not work for you. And so you have to educate me on what those signs look like, especially if you do struggle with anxiety and depression. Tell someone what that looks like. Hey girl, if you come by and I
Mhm.
still got my clothes on from Saturday, that means I'm struggling this week. And so at least that'll educate me so that I know when I
Right.
see you, hey girl, I saw you Saturday. I see what we need to do, where we need to go,
Right.
what
Right.
I need to help you with, because that's how we help one another. We have to educate our support on what we need, because no one knows what we need better than ourselves. And so until you get to that point, or looking in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm not all that. And let me tell y'all something, I'm a very confident person. But sometimes I have to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I don't have it together today.
Yeah.
And be okay. We talk about mindfulness. Be okay that today, in this moment, I'm not where I want to be, but I have the tools in place to get there, because all God and my therapist want me to do is be better tomorrow than what I
Yes.
was today. And
Awesome.
sometimes it just takes one step.
Awesome. Love it. Um, One of the things that helps me be proactive in the stresses of life, because we all have them. We all have things we push through. Um, I practice meditation.
Mm.
I I I, I stop. I pause in life um, to address where I am emotionally at that time. I pause right then, and that helps me become ready for me for that day and ready for all those who I encounter. Sometimes I have to stop during the day and hey, let me take a pause right now and actually take care of myself so I can take care of others. I um, I really appreciate all that you've shared with us tonight. Um, Awesome feedback. Thank you so much. And I know you are amazing at what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Dr. Hicks, tell us how to get in touch with you. Your website, we're going to post it on our YouTube and on our Facebook and on our information to make sure it gets out. But tell the audience, look into the camera and
Yes,
tell them how to
ma'am.
get in touch with you.
So I am the owner of Arc of Healing Therapy Services, and I could be reached at 225-512-4669. My email address is arcofhealingtherapy@gmail.com. And ARC is ARC. I am a one woman show. So when you call, you will be talking to me. You will not be talking with anyone else. And like I said, I do in person and virtual. My office is right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Um, I accept all Medicaid plans, all private insurance plans, Medicare, EAPs, and I also accept self-pay for those that are underinsured or uninsured. You just call and we could discuss how I can help you. And for whatever reason, if I'm unable to help you, I have some amazing colleagues that are able to assist you, and we could discuss that at that time.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. Um, we're going to make sure we push that out for you. Uh, As we close out tonight, one of the things that I want to say right now, this portion of the show definitely, I am dedicating it or to my sister, Frida Patricia Saint-Amant Royal. Um, she passed away uh, in December, uh, the 20th of December in 2021. It took me a while to get to a place where um, it wasn't heavy anymore. Um, the memories that made me sad I can smile at them. I can share her wisdom. She was the person I would call, what you think. I'm at the crossroad. Um, and I lost that when I lost her. Um, to the point that the family gatherings that I would have at my home every holiday for the last 2 years, I have not done them simply because of that. Um, it was difficult, and I'm speaking my truth. My family members who will get to see this now, you know why we have not had the holiday um, celebration unto this year. I did an announcement. We having a family gathering here, and I expect to see my family um, at the house enjoying what God has blessed us with. Uh, and I'm going to use what you just said, but we've said it before, the quality of life, not the quantity, because it's important for us to remember that we should operate in love and compassion for each other while we're here, while we have the miracle of life, the breath of life in us now. Um, and know that life and death is not in these hands, they're in the hands of God. That's what the word says. And we should be in a place of acceptance that what God allows in our lives. So at this point, yes, it took me a minute to get here, guys. Um, I'm not going to say this was overnight, and I wish I could talk to her on a lot of occasions, but I had a lot of time with her. So I relied on the wisdom that she's already poured into me. The seed that she's sown has blossomed to help make me the woman that I am. And what I say to you guys, never be in a position that you cannot, uh, that you're grieving without any hope. The hope is that you will see the other side. And in doing so, you can rest assured that the relationship that you build from this point on, you build a true quality of life that's lasting and that you can stand on even when your loved ones are gone. And I had to get past the point. I should have talked to her more. I should have done more. Um, Whatever you did and whatever they did is sufficient for you today. Our relationship is sufficient for me to continue to grow and develop and be the woman that God has designed. She played her part in my life, and to all of those who know my sister Alfreda, uh, her children, you had and still have a great mother because you live on what she has instilled in you. Great aunt to my children, and so many other people that she mentored and helped develop and form. So I tell you that to share my truth to you. Do not allow things to take your voice. Do not allow the loss to stagnate you. Keep moving forward, and then every step you take brings you closer to a place of peace. And that's where I am today. And I wanted to share that part with you guys to know that loss does not have one name on it. Uh, Grief does not have one name on it. It affects the lives of everyone. Trust yourself, trust God, um, be in a position to love on who you are. As we close today, like anything else we've talked about, um, we have so many ways for therapeutic, uh, be proactive. And one of the things that I always like to close with is music. Music is one of my things that help me to get past. And as we close out with this session, we will close out with We Are the Greatest in Who We Are. Um, and I want to tell you, like always, we love you and we appreciate who you are. Thank you again, Dr. Hicks. for being on the show. Tell them the name of your place one more time as we exit.
It is Arc of Healing Therapy Services.
All right. And what's that number?
225-512-4669.
All right. Thank you guys. And y'all have amazing evening, amazing day. Remember to like, share, and click notifications so you can get notification of anything that comes through Plain Talk with Eva, the art of voice. Remember, you must reclaim your voice. Do not let anyone take it away from you. And these are mechanisms and strategies to cope when you have lost your voice. Remember, you are the greatest.